Hi guys, I am a new makeup artist on YouTube and I am going to show you how to do a everyday look that I do usually for work or when I'm going out and don't really feel like doing too much makeup. So here we go. Alright, so I'm just taking my BYS face primer. Just looks like this. I've used a lot of it, as you can see. So I usually take about 3 squirts on my finger. And just rub it between the two, and then I will just start moving it around, and then I just rub it into my skin. I always make sure that I bring it down to the neck so that it helps sit the foundation on really nicely. I bring it over my eyelids as well. I am not a professional, this is just what I do, and I'm just going to show you how to do reasonable looking makeup on a budget. So I am now taking, this is mainly all BYS stuff because it's the most affordable that I can get myself. It's taken me about 6 months to be able to get all the makeup that I have. So I'm taking my BYS matte foundation in the shade Sand Beige, and I just take about 3, maybe 4 squirts depending on how much coverage I want. And I'm just going to use my beauty blender, and I just sort of swirl it round my whole face like this. Always get it on the chin and under the neck. Always make sure that I get it all around the face so that I find this easier to blend in. Wipe the excess off. And then I start buffing it out with little tapping motions. This is a damp sponge. I can't call it a beauty blender because I just picked it up from Kmart for about $3. But it is my favourite so far. I always put it over my lips. That's just something I do. You don't have to do that. And then I always drag it into the nose because it seems to help it a little bit better, and then I just dab around it so that it makes it more of a flawless finish. So I'll just keep going. I always put it on my ears. That's a new makeup trick that I've learnt. Always bring it down to your neck so you don't get a harsh line. And then usually I get my little ring light. It's cracked because it fell off the mirror. I turn the light on so it has better lighting, and it's a magnifying mirror, so I always use this when I'm doing blending so that I can tell if it's, you know, streaky or not blended properly or anything. I always bring it over my eyelids just to make it look a little bit more blended and I don't have my discoloration on the eyes. So I just keep blending. Usually I pull my hair back a little bit so that I can get right into my hairline. And then I just keep blending it out until it's nice and smooth and makes it look more skin-like. I have a nose ring, so I sort of just push it to each side to make sure that it's all blended on there. Make sure that there's no lines or weird looks on the eyelids, because sometimes when I press with the beauty blender or the sponge, I make sure that there's no creases or anything. I don't set my foundation straight away purely because I have very weird skin, and if I set it right away, sometimes it comes off in patches and I can't fix it up. So usually what I do is I just leave my foundation until I'm done, and that is one of my last steps that I do before I put my setting spray on. So I'm just going to take the BYS Concealer Duo, so it has a little liquid one here and then a stick here. The stick has actually broken off, so I just wind it up the tiniest bit so it can't move. And I just put it down my nose like that. You can't really see it. Doesn't have a shade. Oh yes, it does. It's the same one. It's the same. It's number 2 in Sand Beige. So I put it down my nose, in like a triangle section under my eyes to try and get rid of any discoloration or dark circles. Put a little bit on my chin and a little bit on my forehead just to highlight the points. And then I take this other, it's a damp sponge. I literally got this from Cosmetics Plus in a little duo. It came with 4 little beauty blenders or beauty sponges. A couple are like this. I use this one to you know, maybe if it's dry, I never wet this one. I use it to do ombre lips to, you know, blend out, or I use the butt of it to, if I have stuffed up my eyeliner, my eyeshadow, I use that to sort of buff out this concealer to fix it up. But the wet one I use for my face. So I just use very, very light dabbing motions. Because it is a cheaper sponge, it sometimes leaves little circles on it. So I use very light bouncing motions on my face, and it seems to work the best. I have this little bit of fluff, it won't go away. There we go. So I just use light bouncing motions until it is completely blended out, and make sure that it's all under the eye so that it's a seamless finish. Make sure you get right in the corner of your eye. And I usually go over the eyelid for just, you know, a bit of a eyeshadow base. I find the concealer works best. So I just keep bouncing it in until it is a flawless finish. So basically that's what it looks like. It looks a little bit bright at the moment and unblended, but once I put the setting powder in and it buffers it all out, it usually looks pretty good. Well, I think so anyway. Next, what I do is take a little bit of the BYS loose powder in light, and I get a little eyeshadow brush, a fluffy one usually. Let me just find one, clean it off a little bit because I haven't had time to clean my makeup brushes, so sometimes I like to just make sure that there's not a lot on there. Take the tiniest bit like that, but if there is too much, I usually just take the lid and I tap it all off so that there's not much product there, and then I will just put that on my eyelid so that I don't get any creases or anything. And then I'll take the little bit that I tapped off in the lid and put that all over my other eyelid, just so that there's no creases, because you have put a wet product on there, which would be the concealer, and the setting powder will just make sure that there's no lines for when you put your eyeshadow on, and it'll make sure that you have a nice smooth dry surface to start any of your eyeshadows. I am a little bit nervous, this is my first YouTube video, so I'll be umming and ahhing and stuttering and all that sort of stuff. I don't do well with public speaking, which is weird because I'm talking to myself at the moment until this goes up. Next, I do my brows, and I'm using the Maybelline New York Master Brow Pro palette. It comes with a, it's in the shade Deep Brown. It comes with a little makeup eyebrow brush, but I don't ever use that, and it just looks like that. So the darkest shade is a cream that I don't use. As you can see, I use the middle one more often than not, and then I don't really use this one for highlighting. I'd rather use an actual highlighter to do that. Let me just find my eyebrow brush. That's not it. I've lost it. I think that's it. Oh no, that's not it. I've lost my eyebrow brush. That's just great. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I have this one here. It's just a BYS Brow Tool brush that I got. And it has a little spoolie on the end and then the little angle brush there. So what I do is I just brush through my brows. Since it's a powder, it doesn't really define them much. I'm yet to get a brow pencil, which is better for, you know, doing hair-like strokes and all that. So my brows usually look pretty blocky. So I'll just go in and get a couple of, I'll go in with a couple of strokes, tap off any excess so that it doesn't have any fallout. And then I'll just go underneath and define that. So I have a line that goes underneath. Now my brows haven't been shaped or anything in years, so I usually just try and keep it to where the most of the hair is, and then I'll just go and do the top, and then I'll just start filling it in. So upwards strokes I'll do, and just sort of buff it out to make it look a little bit more flawless and blend it in. And just keep going over, and then I'll look in the mirror and this mirror here and see where there's any sparse areas, if I haven't filled anything in, if it doesn't look even, and I'll just go in very lightly and fix that up so I don't put too much powder there and make it look like I've got big caterpillars or really, really dark eyebrows. If they are a little bit dark, I usually wait until I've done both eyebrows and see how they look, and if I like the look of them, I'll just brush over really, really lightly just to put them in place. Otherwise it kind of just, it just wipes the powder off, unfortunately, but that's what you get when you use a powder, it will brush off. And then I'll just do the same thing for the other brow, which is do a line and define it. And then again on the top, and just try and get them as even as possible, and then I'll start blending them out, which is just strokes along the brow in the way that the hair grows until it looks okay, and then I'll look in the mirror. And as you can see, this one's a little bit darker than this one, so what I do is I just brush it out to fade it a little bit to make it the same color, and now they're pretty much okay. So then I'll just brush this one really lightly because I like the shade that it's in, so that it doesn't brush the color off, but it does put the hair in place. So that's pretty much it for my brows. I usually use setting spray to keep them in place. Next would be the eyes. So I just get this little brush here, or this one which is tapered. I usually clean them off because I usually use something at night or a colour that I don't really want to use the next day. So I use both of them really for different styles for the crease. So I always start off with the crease with a transition shade. So that's just your shade that is going to help you build any other colour that you really want. So those two are clean-ish now. I'm pretty simple with my makeup. It doesn't take me long to do my makeup ever. Like, I can do my makeup in 15 minutes if I really want to. Today it's going to take a bit longer, obviously, because I'm talking. So I use the BYS highlighting palette, Nude 3 in BYS, which is just a metallic and matte shade. They come with little brushes, but I don't use them. You can if you really want to, and they come in all these shades. The mirrors are a little bit warped, so that's why I always use my other mirrors with the lights on them. This is the highlighting shades, and I will tell you what I use as I do it. I don't really contour on days where I'm just, getting ready really quickly. And then I also use the matte BYS eyeshadow palette, so they're all matte shades, and that's that there. So I usually go in with the matte shade first, the metallic shade second, and then the highlighting shade last for my inner corners. Alright, so I'm going to take this brush. This is the Zoeva Luxe Pencil in 230, and I will dip into Spirit, which is this third shade here. It's kind of like a pinky undertone, very light shade. I always tap off the excess so that I don't get much fallout. And I will show you, because I will probably get some fallout, what I do when I do get fallout. So I'm just going to brush that all over my lid and into the crease. Take as much product as you need and keep dipping in if you feel like you don't have enough. So I just bring it just up to here. So there's my crease, and I bring it just above that so you can still really see the shadow. So I'll bring that around in a circle shape, and then just using little dabbing motions. You don't want to go too fast or it can make mistakes. And then in my crease, I use windshield wiper motions just to get the shadow blended. And then in the outer corner, or the outer V, I will use little circular motions to blend it to where I want it. Now I have very loose skin on my eyelids, so it can be a bit difficult for me to get it where I want it, but it seems to work for me to do this stuff. So, and I just do the same on the other eye, windshield wiper motions in the eye, and then little circular motions to sort of smoke it out a little bit and give myself a really good line. And then I always check in the other mirror just to make sure that they're even. So this one hasn't come up as far, so I'm just going to bring it up a little bit more and do the little circular motions and windshield wiper motions. Alright, so now I'm going to go into the shade Dreamer, which is this one here, and it's a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go into that one and use that one directly in my crease just to define it a little bit more, make it a little bit darker. So I go in and out with windshield wiper motions. I don't really do the outer corner because that's where our transition shade is. This is mainly just for the crease. Alright, so just going in and out in windshield wiper motions to make it a little bit darker. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is a little bit darker now. So I'll just keep building that up until it's the shade where I want it. And I'll bring it a little bit up, just so that if I need to deepen up the crease a little bit more with a darker shade again, I'm not going to lose the Dreamer shade. So I'm just going to do exactly the same for the other one. I'm not smoking it out or anything, it's directly going in the crease and a little bit further up. So we don't lose the transition shade, but we still can add more if we need to. So then I just check that mirror. So this one, as you can see the shape of my crease a little bit more. So I'm going to go back into Dreamer again and just do this eye a little bit more and deepen that one up as well so that they match pretty good. Alright, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to go in with the shade probably Chocolate, which is this really dark brown shade there, and just go into the crease again. Tap off the excess, try not to blow it, doesn't look very professional, but it's a habit that I have. And then just go right into the crease there, try not to cover up Dreamer so that it can, you know, deepen up the crease but you don't lose any other shade that you've put down. So if you don't feel like you're getting a precise enough line, if you've just started doing makeup and everything, I would really recommend using a tapered brush. This is the BYS Fine Feature Contour, and I always use this for my eyes. Okay, so a little bit more in there, and I'm just doing windshield wiper motions, sticking exactly to the crease, not going up at all, just so that it defines it a bit more, which you can see a lot on this eye. You can really see the line now, which is what I wanted. And then doing the same for the other eye, and I really like building up the shadow so that you don't go too dark at the start and, you know, then you can't blend it out. So I always like to build up. So I go in with very minimal product, always make sure that I blend it so that it doesn't go too dark at once. Okay, so what I've done here is I've accidentally gone too far, so I'm just going to match it on that side because I can fix that up later when I put in my corner colour. So I just bring that down there, match it up there and just blend it, which is the windshield wiper motions. And then that looks pretty even. So now I'm going to go in with the shade Espresso, which is right next to Chocolate. It's like, it looks really light compared to Chocolate, but it actually comes off really dark on your eyes. I didn't realize this. I tried that and it went way too dark, way too quick. I wasn't ready for it. So it kind of, you know, surprised me. So I'm just going right in the outer V and on the lid a little bit. And then I'm just going to circle motions on the outer corner just to do that. Make it smoke out. And we're going to blend this out with a big fluffy brush as well. So again, don't blow, that looks really bad, but that's okay. So bring it out, smoke it out, blend it all the way up, try and get like a wing-like shape out there. and windshield wiper motions in the crease, and then little circle motions out there to bring it out and smoke it out. As you can see, this one smoked out way more than this one. So I'm going to go into a little bit more espresso, tap off the excess, and just smoke this one out a little bit more too to make it sort of match. Now this is my everyday look. Normally I would bring my eyeshadow up a lot more. Okay, so that's done there. I'm pretty much done with the eye, like the crease and everything. So what I'm going to do is grab a big fluffy brush, which is the 228 Luxe Crease by Zoeva, and I'm just going to do little circular motions on the outside just to make sure there's no harsh edges on the lid. I do little circular motions. Try to close your eye as much as possible so you don't stab it, and then windshield wiper motions in the crease. Make sure that you buff it all out nicely so that it's a nice seamless finish, and all the way out here too. Okay, so that's done there. See how it looks really, you know, seamless and smoky and all that sort of stuff, but it's still quite natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little brush again, this one, which is the Zoeva 230 Luxe Pencil, and get a bit more espresso, and then just go on my lower lash line just to add a little bit more definition so that it doesn't look so naked. And then again on this one, I sort of look in the mirror with both eyes so I know where to end, and then just sort of blend it up a little bit to meet the other one on the outer crease on the top lid. Then I'm just going to get my other fluffy brush and just buff that out a little bit more so it doesn't look so bad and harsh edged. It smokes it out a little bit. And then that's pretty much it for eyes. So then I'm going to get a concealer brush like this one. So this is just a flat edge brush, BYS concealer brush. And I'm going to dip into, this is the Nude 3 Matte and Metallic, and I'm going to dip into Honey, which is a pinky metallic shade. It doesn't really come off much on the brush, as you can see, but it does look really pretty on the lid. So I'm just going to brush it in so that it meets espresso on the outer corner and gives me a little bit of a shimmer. So I really like the look of a shimmery lid. As you can see, this already looks a lot lighter and nicer. So if you use a flat concealer brush, it's a little bit more, you know, easier and precise to be able to fit the lid. So I'm just going to do the same on the other lid now and just really focus and make sure that I don't go too far up, down or to the side so that I don't lose any definition that I've already done. Now you can't see it, but I do have a little bit of fallout, so I just take the same beauty blender that I did with my foundation and I just dab it a little bit, and it seems to just buff everything out and lose that. I've got that piece of fluff there again. Okay. So that's it. I don't really use eyeliner for work because I'm a waitress, so that's not really heard of. So what I do instead is I just put mascara straight on. So I'll put my mascara on, and I just learnt this from a Kristen Dominique video, and it really helps my lashes. So I just push it backwards, push it the other way towards the outer corner of my eye, and then I brush it up, and it makes them really long, really thick and separated so that they look natural but beautiful. And then I'll just blink the mascara wand onto my bottom lashes so that I don't get too much on the bottom lash, and as you can see in there, very different. And then I'll just turn the wand over where there's more product and do the same thing for the other lash. And I just keep going until I'm happy with the volume, thickness and coating of that, and I'll do the same with the bottom lash. Just blink it on there because I find that looks better for my eye shape. And that's my mascara pretty much done. I will go in one more time and just do the top lashes again because I really like the look of thick, long top lashes and, you know, small but black lower lashes. So that's pretty much my mascara done. Okay, next would be blush. So I'm just gonna take my 105 Zoeva brush, Luxe highlighting brush. Now I'm just using a $2, or actually I think it was like $12 palette from the Reject Shop or a Dollar and Cent store. There's no color shade, it's just like a pinky color. And I'll just smile and dab it onto the apples of my cheeks. And then once I've got the pigment there, I'll just drag it up a little bit. I don't contour for work because I don't see the point in looking so glamorous when you're waiting tables. So I'll just do that and make sure that they're both the same color. And if they are too dark, like they are right now, because I haven't really figured that one out yet, I just will tap it a little bit with that Beauty Blender, and it seems to just tone it down a little bit. So that's my cheeks done. So while my mascara is drying, I will get my QVS powder brush. It's very old. I've had this since I was about 16. I'm now 20. And I will just put some on here and just dust it over. So just keep dusting it over. It will get all over you because it's a loose powder, but I just keep buffing it out until I am happy with how I have set my face. And if you do get too much on there like that, just tap it off into the lid, and then I'll use that for the rest of my face. So I always make sure that my cheeks and nose are set a lot more. On my ears, under my neck. And then just keep tapping until you get enough, and then I'll make sure that my nose is really buffed out because that's where I sweat. Over my top lip, because I also sweat really bad there. And this will just help keep your skin mattified and nice and set. So then I'll check the mirror here and make sure there's no loose powder that I can't see in my other mirror. And there's not. So that's my setting powder done. So now I'm going to go on to lips. Now, I usually just dust myself off because I have lots of powder. And I'm going to go in with the Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lipstick in the shade Mannequin. I really find this pinky shade a really beautiful colour to use for work because it's nice and pink and matte and not too out there and bright. So I just start filling in my lips. Now, I have really strange shaped lips. My Cupid's bow isn't even, and my bottom lips can be a bit wonky as well. So I'll fill in one side of my lip and then overdraw the other one to make it look a bit even on the bottom. And then because I cannot draw at all, I will just do a straight Cupid's bow. And then I'll close my lips and look in the mirror, make sure they look even. And if they aren't, I'll just touch up a little bit. And that's that. And then after that, I'll dry it a little bit, make it that matte shade that I absolutely love. I only put Jeffree Star Velour liquid lipsticks on my face, like on my lips, completely. I don't have very many, but I will definitely be buying more when I can afford it. And then I'm just going to go in with my BYS Makeup Setting Spray in the matte finish style and just spritz my face. I always make sure there's heaps on there because I do sweat a lot because it's Australia and it's really hot. And then I'll just, if I'm going out, I'll take my hair out and do this. And just fluff it up and make it look, you know, somewhat presentable. If I'm going to work, I'll just leave it in a ponytail. And that is the completed look. It's pretty simple. I'll give you guys a close-up. I'm just on my phone at the moment. So it's pretty simple, nice, blended, very natural looking, not too out there. There's no liner to make your eyes pop. There's just a little bit of dark brown under your lash line to, you know, make it, you know, look more defined and make your eyes look a little bit nicer. The lips are very natural and matte. I look a little bit dewy because the setting spray hasn't dried yet, but that is generally what I will do every day for work. If I feel like doing something different, then yeah, I'll do something different. But if you guys like this and you want to keep watching me, subscribe to my channel, give my video a big thumbs up, and I would really appreciate some support because this is something I'm extremely passionate about, and I was so nervous to do this. I've been thinking about doing this for about 3 weeks now. I've been practicing my makeup look. I'm on Instagram as bex.beauty. I'm Bex Beauty on Twitter, and yeah, so if you want to find, that's where I mainly post all my pictures and finished looks, but this is my first tutorial. So I would really appreciate it if you guys could, you know, give me some love. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!